Hello, I am here to do the final demonstration project for EDAC 632 Spring 2024 with Dr. Chang. In this group is myself, Cynthia Harter, Julianne Harter, and Shelbe Mann. For the first project, the organization project, we each did this one separately. So for mine, I looked at the Allen County Public Library, which is a library system with 14 locations in Allen County, Indiana. The organizational structure of their programming was in multiple ways. As you can see here, they did organization by division, by customer learner segment, by geography or territory, and also by function. So here I talk about some of the functions of educational program management. So how the planning could be dependent on the type of programming, if it was system-wide, or if it was for a particular group. Talk about how they organize it, all of the things there, and then the organizational leadership team you can see here as well. Julianne did her project on Aging and In-Home Services of Northeast Indiana, which is a private, not-for-profit social service organization serving older adults, people with disabilities, and their family caregivers. And they want to promote dignity, independence, and advocacy for all older adults, people with disabilities, and their family caregivers. So they offer things like online courses, community programs, and support groups. Shelbe did hers on the YMCA of Greater Fort Wayne, which is a charitable not-for-profit organization that offers programs to build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. So she works at the Jorgensen branch, and some of the programs that they offer are silver sneaker programs, health and wellness, clubs and hobbies, mentoring and tutoring. The project we did on leadership and administration, from here on out, we did all these as a group. So we interviewed Becky Fox, the branch manager at the Grable branch of the Allen County Public Library. So here you can see kind of how their leadership and administration is broken down. She technically wouldn't necessarily be probably considered maybe in the higher administration, although she does have some administrative duties. So the executive director is kind of at the top of the chain, and then they have 6 individuals underneath them. And beneath the director of community partnerships and programs, we have the public services manager who works with Becky, the branch manager, our interviewee. And so she talked about how some of her tasks included communicating with employees in a candid yet empathetic way, communicating with all staff in a timely, clear, and positive manner, seeking input from staff, using good listening skills. All of these things not only I think are important for good leaders, but also good administrators. Treating staff respectfully, that's definitely something that applies in all ways. Offer guidance and coaching to middle managers, holding staff accountable while being empathetic at the same time, willing to make hard decisions. So definitely all of these things I think apply, not just as someone who's administrating, but just a leader in general. Having passion for their work, having confidence, but not being arrogant, and willing to show vulnerability and take accountability for their own actions. And a quote from her we thought was particularly meaningful was she said, "I guess anyone in an administrative position is an administrator. That's just a title. Those with the above qualities would be leaders. Leaders have an overall vision of the entire organization and can articulate that and make decisions based on it." So some of the implications from this project, we thought that one of the most interesting things was that administrators can overlap in an organization. There are some clear lines and expectations for the different roles, but to be able to do both things. So kind of like we were talking with Becky, she isn't her job title wouldn't technically be considered an administration, but she definitely has leadership roles, and to be able to have to do both of those things would be daunting. So it's very important communication, and to have empathy for your employees, and to have a good team of employees that want to have the same expectations of the organization that you do. Our next project was budget and funding, which we talked to the David Sedestrom, the Chief Financial Officer at the Allen County Public Library. And here you can kind of see for 2024 how their income was broken down. Their primary income source is property taxes, and then income tax, other taxes. So they primarily get funding for the organization through taxes. They do get some charitable contributions. They get grants and things like that. The ACPL Foundation and the Friends of ACPL, as well as some local organizations, also contribute to some of their programming budget. Their main expenses are primarily salaries and benefits for employees, general operating expenses, books and things like that for the library, are the primary things that they need to spend their money on. So we can see here that broken down in dollar amounts. So yes, they spend millions of dollars a year to keep the Allen County Public Library running and serving the community. So some of the implications we learned from this assignment was that there is the importance of having a very detailed budget that accounts for the various needs. It's also important to realize that a budget is just a prediction, but you never know what the economy and things like that. David talked about how they have just a built-in expense to kind of balance the budget to account for that sort of unpredictability. And a lot of his job involves just relying on gut instinct on how they're going to manage their funds. It also was really interesting to see the importance of a healthy economy for something like this that gets so much of its budget from taxes. He had mentioned that with kind of the boom in property values and things like that, that they had actually had more income than they would have expected before. And something that he didn't touch on quite as much, but that was kind of interesting also, was talking about how they also got charitable contributions and things like that. And while I would have thought previously that the library would have relied heavily on things like that, it really is primarily funded by our tax dollars. So the next project was human resources management. And so here are some examples of HR processes. And I was surprised, we were all surprised by just how many things that HR is involved in. It's not just hiring and firing and explaining your benefits and, handling like conflicts and things like that. There's really training is a huge part of it. Employee health and wellness and things like that can be involved. And human resources should link with the organization's mission with the work of the people. So it's important to keep the institution or the organization's goals and mission and values in mind when working in HRM. So we actually interviewed two different individuals who have HRM duties. The first interview was with Steve McDaniel, who is the director of Fort Wayne Parks and Recreation. They do not have, I was surprised to learn that they do not have a formal HRM department at Fort Wayne Parks and Recreation, despite having hundreds of employees. As you can see from the chart over here, they are part of the City of Fort Wayne organization. And so they coordinate HRM activities with the City of Fort Wayne. So jobs will be listed sometimes on both websites, things like that. But the HRM, most of the duties are primarily handled via Parks and Rec. They have a few things like they will work with on the City of Fort Wayne, like listing on the websites. Then we also interviewed Jenny Kissel, who is the Director of Human Resources at Ivy Tech Community College in Fort Wayne. They have a much more formal human resources. She is actually the Director of Human Resources. They offer much more training and certifications and opportunities for their employees. Going back here to Parks and Recreation, they despite having lots of employees, many of them are seasonal. Their jobs are highly specialized. So their training will primarily focus on job duties. So they do have some safety training that they have to receive, um, like certifications for working heavy equipment and things like that. But the HRM at Ivy Tech has more opportunities for like employee growth. And they coordinate with other departments such as the systems office and the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Belonging. And of course, Jenny also had typical HRM duties you think of, like hiring, administrative duties, and employee relations. So as you can see here, these are a lot of different functions that HRM can be involved in. And I would say between the two, Jenny Ivy Tech definitely has nearly all of these. Whereas without having a formal HRM department, and the director just kind of overseeing some of those basic things, that a lot of these things were missing from there. So it was quite interesting comparing the two. Thinking about if you were going to work for an organization, we all agreed that it would probably be something to actually look into, which I had never thought before about how HRM really applies to how your job will go. It's not just what organization am I working for, what is my specific job, but what opportunities will there be for growth, and investigating their human resources department can really give you a lot of insight into that. We also did our marketing project together, and we decided to make a marketing plan for a hypothetical virtual beginners culinary class, which would have been facilitated by a fictional community center. We wanted it to be a free program. Our intended audience would include adults interested in learning to cook, people looking just to improve their culinary skills, and people seeking a convenient, interactive, community-based learning experience. We wanted to empower people to cook healthy, convenient meals at home, and also to make sure that everybody knew participating in our program that they could be successful, that we would be adaptable to their particular skills and their skill level. So with this being kind of an introductory type program, and wanting it to have that experience where everyone could be successful and get the attention that they needed, we wanted to keep it open to 10 participants. So the goals of our plan included increasing awareness of the culinary class among the audience, increasing awareness of the community center in general, generating interest in the culinary class, encouraging potential participants to engage with the facilitators, enrolling participants in the program, and collecting feedback, and also just building a sense of community. You can see that in our chart below as well. So some of our strategies, and you can see here in our chart how many we would, this is all an estimate, and maybe aspirational, of how many we would like to reach with each of these strategies, how much we would expect potentially to gain in enrollment from each of these. But primarily we would focus on the social media campaign, posting on the Facebook page, also with our community partners. So partners could include organizations like the public library or local community colleges or things like that, maybe even neighborhood associations. Also, it could be interesting to try distributing flyers on community boards and local small grocery stores, and those other community partner type places. And also, ideally, our community center would have an email list, and people who are interested in our programs, we could send an email talking about any particular program, including this one. So some of our implications from here were that we wanted to ensure that there was clear and concise communication in the promotional materials, creating awareness of our program, listing the materials that they may need to participate. So making sure people felt prepared, or that they would be able to do the program, especially with it being kind of a virtual program. They would obviously need to have internet access, a device with video capabilities, have Zoom loaded on their computer, their device, kitchen space equipment, all those things. So you want to make sure that any participant would feel prepared. And also once they got to the course that they were prepared, because otherwise they could be disappointed that they weren't able to really participate. And so also some of our goals here were to get the minimum of 10 people to sign up, to increase our web traffic. And yeah, so we think that getting people to sign up online could also streamline results as well, so that there's less confusion of, oh, how to make sure we don't overfill the spots and leave people disappointed that they weren't able to participate when they thought they were signed up. And if you would like, whenever you have an opportunity to look through our PowerPoint, which I will include the link in our course page, we all have our course reflections here as well. And here are our references. And that is the end of the presentation. We had a wonderful semester and really enjoyed learning. Thank you so much.